Welcome back to Elevate with Liana and Marisha, the lifestyle podcast where we invite you to feel well, think deep, and live wide. If you're a curious mind or into conscious living, then you're in the right place. Today's guest proves that innovation isn't just for Silicon Valley or shiny labs. Sometimes it starts with a spark, a bold sketch, and a whole lot of stubbornness.
Our guest today has won the UK's Women in Innovation Award for her breakthrough product design, Matzero, a company reshaping how we think about heat, comfort, and sustainable design. From the UK to field tests in Nepal, she's turned the cold into warmth for people that are in need.
Shri Hollema, we're so excited to have you. Welcome to Elevate.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm very excited about this discussion.
Shri, you've invented and built something incredible, a technology that literally warms people while tackling sustainability head on. So let's start at the beginning. Tell us, what is Matzero all about?
Matzero is a physical product that delivers heat to the person directly. It is what it says on the tin. It's a mat that heats up, but the part about sustainability is that it's battery and solar compatible. So the whole idea was no matter what your infrastructure was and your energy access, you could operate this heater to stay warm across in the winter. I found that too many people in the world, whether you're sort of a refugee, an IDP, which is an internally displaced person, or even someone in the UK who can't afford heating, there was just too many people who had to choose between heating or eating in the winter. And that's what the sort of the spark was for designing something that was A, sort of compatible with any infrastructure, but B, could actually deliver warmth to somebody in those circumstances.
Well, Sri, the first question that comes to me is, how did this all start? What was that spark that actually started this whole project?
I get this question a lot. It wasn't really like a light bulb moment per se. I designed this in my final year at university, which instead of a dissertation where I had to write like a 10,000 word essay, I had to design a product that could solve a problem. Now that's like a huge an open question. It could be anything. But it's also really difficult because a lot of the products we have already designed to solve problems, and I feel like it's more about redefining what those products are to be better. We haven't found the ultimate solution for a lot of these things. So I looked at heating as one of the things that we hadn't really addressed for a while, specifically in refugee camps. So I'd seen sort of lighting with a lot of innovation in that, and water and medicine delivery, all sorts of really cool things. But I saw that heat, like we'd gone for the gas heater or a stove in the tent and gone, you know what, that does the job, which I guess it does, but there are better ways of doing this because those products deliver harm to the environment and potentially harm to the people living in those tents as well. So there must have been a better solution. So then I went about a sort of like a 6 month research project almost. I was a bit stressed out at the time because everyone had already like identified their problem solution and everything else. And I was still like trying to work out how I could create heat off like as little energy as possible. And so yeah, it was accumulation of how do I create heat out with as little electricity as possible and in these harsh environments and with all these sort of like criteria. So it was more of like a puzzle piece than like a light bulb moment. And then the mat naturally came about because of the way people slept in tents and areas like that, and from insulating from the ground up as well. A lot of heat is sunk into the ground, so by basically making sure that doesn't happen, you're putting like a sandwich in between, plus heat rises, so having something underneath you makes a lot more sense than something on top of you. So it was just like an accumulation of all these things, basically.
Wow. And then so you come up with your Mat Zero prototype, but then you have to go out and test it, right? And you go out and you test it in Nepal, if I'm correct. Tell us about that moment. That must have been such a wild ride. What was it like seeing people for the first time using something that you've created?
I think my first tests were actually my housemates at uni. So they were definitely the guinea pigs in this process. I remember having a very, very small heater at the time. I'm like, can you feel the heat? Can you feel the heat? And they're like, yeah, ish. I'm not sure what difference it's gonna make. So yeah, I'm cutting a long story short, but when we started Matzero, I kind of started again on the whole design process, but this time involving like manufacturers and the actual tech suppliers of the technology to understand like how big we can make the heater, how efficient, all this sort of stuff. So I'd done a few, yeah, trials here in the UK locally. I went to Jordan as well to visit a refugee camp there. Didn't actually do any testing, but it was more like evaluating of the concept and understanding the needs and really addressing sort of how this would actually be practically used. So although I didn't sort of roll out mats and say, how did you get on? This was a really informative piece and it informed a lot of design decisions that we made. Then fast forward, yeah, 6 months later, we got a FCDO grant, which is the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office here in the UK, so a branch of the government, to basically pilot the mats as part of their energy access um, program, and that's where we rolled out the mats. And by then they were looking like a proper product by then. So I wasn't they weren't guinea pigs at that stage, but it was to sort of understand how this could be used in Nepali villages and how this could what are the benefits of using the mat. And so yeah, when we did the evaluation piece of the trial, it was pretty incredible to actually see that the hypotheses were true and that people really, really loved the mat, and this was actually a sort of a game changer. And it's like, okay. Yay. And then I actually lean on that moment a lot when it comes to like just, the normal business stresses. I always just think back at the feedback of what the mat gave and how people loved it. So that is an anchor in the whole journey for sure.
Oh, Shri, how beautiful. And again, it's the purpose behind it, right? And how lovely that you go back to you've answered a question that we had. It's like what keeps the drive, what keeps you motivated to continue on that journey. Because it must have been a wild and difficult journey. As we know, there's always a messy middle somewhere in that process from the idea to the actualization of things. So you've said innovation takes patience and perseverance and creativity. So you had to face a lot of chaos in the middle, we imagine. What's one of those oh no moments that nearly broke you, and how did you get through that?
I feel like as a startup, you get those a lot. You're literally building something from nothing. So there's always going to be paths that you go down and then they turn out to be a dead end and you're like, gotta start again. So it is quite a frustrating journey, especially I'm quite impatient. So, which I guess that also makes me like good to be in the position I am because I'm always trying to drive forward. But then it also means that when something doesn't quite go right, it's like disaster. Um, even though it may not be. I think one of the most stressful times so far was when one of our suppliers went in administration, like the week we were meant to receive the product, and it was like we were meant to fly out to Nepal like in 2 months or like 2 weeks. What are we gonna do? That was a big push to get those made and find another supplier, and that was quite a big stress. But there's nothing you could have done to prepare for that, or do things differently. So, but it was one of those things where, like, yep, it's very clear we're a startup.
How do you push through? What is it that makes you hold on?
Yeah, at this point, it was before the Nepal trial, so it was more like the vision, which sounds a bit delusional, but yeah, the fact that I really wanted to see this through, it couldn't just die there. Like we built too much to then sort of allow it just to go, okay, it's just not going to work. All right, we won't do it. So at that point, it was that. I think now, if the same thing happens, it's kind of like, well, now we've delivered one project, we want to deliver a lot more. We want to roll out these mats. So think about the impact you made on this little village times 100-fold, whatever it may be. So that's kind of when like, okay, just keep pushing.
I love that. I love that because what you're describing is the side of innovation that we rarely see, right? It's not just about inspiration, it's about iteration, just keeping at it and just solving the problems and just like putting
Yeah.
your head down and keep going and the courage to keep showing up when things are really pretty uncertain. And so then comes the Woman in Innovation Award from Innovate UK. Congratulations. How did that recognition hit you, Shri? Did it change how you saw yourself as a leader or as a voice for women in STEM? And STEM is, what is it? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, right? So how did that award, has it changed something in you?
What I think it definitely kind of gave me a confidence. I mean, it's a fantastic um sort of thing on the CV, so I'm quite happy about that. Yeah, I think I'm very young to be on this journey still, and sort of fresh out of uni.
What's your age? Do you mind revealing your age?
25, but I have been doing this 3 years now, so I started when I was 22. Definitely was like a bit of a see I can do it kind of thing, which was really needed at the time. So I don't really say I'm proud often, but I was pretty proud of that. And I think it's really important for me. So could we get a physical plaque, like the we get a purple plaque, which is a bit, I don't know if you've like been to the UK before, and they have these sort of blue plaques on buildings of like historical figures that maybe once lived there or whatever that's associated with the building. So we get purple ones for this award, and they get put onto a like building of education, so either a school or a university. Mine will be put up in Loughborough. And I think that's just really important to me because when I went through the school, there was not a, well, there wasn't, I can't name you a woman, a female designer who I sort of went through the school and they used as an exemplar or anything like that. It's a very male-dominated sector, design. I think it does kind of fall under the STEM category. And so I think it's really important to then showcase that there's women too who are doing some really cool designs, and they've actually then made a business out of it as well. It's not just a cool design and it's stopped there. It's got real world legs. So I hope that the uni can use that as well as a bit of a motivator and driver, because yeah, like there was zero female representation there. Yeah.
Wow, Shri, that is so special and so important. Please send us a photo when that tag does go
Mhm.
up on that wall.
Yeah,
See it.
I'm
Be
excited.
posting it on Instagram, and that we want to see it. And you know, this is such an important conversation because representation changes the whole room, it changes whole communities. And when women innovate visibly and they stand in their power and they're showing up, it widens the horizons for everyone coming after them. It just inspires them, right? So thank you for being one of those women. It's such a young age. It's so inspiring. And what we love also is that your work is real world impact. So there's so much depth to what you're doing. You're solving a problem that affects actual people. There's many innovations, but this is going where it's solving a problem for people, staying warm safely and sustainability. If you'd have to define your why, what would it be?
Good question. I feel like it's like a mixture of things. I am somebody who loves a challenge, sort of indirectly. I'll complain about it first and then I'll like it at the end. But I'm always like to keep busy. My mind is always doing something. I'm always like in my childhood, I always do like different projects and arts and crafts and sports and all sorts. So I think it kind of translates into the career I wanted, was to have something that was kind of doing a lot of things. So a startup that naturally you're doing everything, and I just love it so much being able to kind of grow from different and understand from different sectors and the markets and people and expertise. It's just really fascinating. So I think like the style of this sort of job really suits me and motivates me. It's not really, I guess, a why, but it's a kind of a, well, I don't know what to call it now, but an alignment in career. I guess the why is as well though is I because of that then because you're one day you're in your desk and one day you're in the field doing this and the next day you're talking on a podcast and doing all this sort of stuff. I think for me I didn't want to just be sort of in a sat at a desk 24 hours doing the same thing every single day. And so and I think that we, as a designer as well, we have responsibility to make the world a better place because we don't need more products to throw away. And most of I live a pretty good life. Like, I have everything I sort of need. There are stuff we can improve for sure. And I think that's where the design role of designers need to come in, especially with sustainability and with consumer choices and all that. That's all been designed in the first place. We need to design them better. And that's really where I think the motivation comes from is the just the creativity and the lifestyle with having these sort of jobs I love and that motivates me in anyways. But then also having a product that isn't just another throwaway item or a gimmick, it's actually serving a purpose. That really motivates me. So yeah, it so happens to be a Matzero now. Who knows what it will be in the future, but yeah, that's definitely part of the long-winded explanation of why.
It's such a great explanation, Shri. I am fortunate enough to be able to hang out with quite a few of you Gen Z generation, and because of my son, thanks to my son, who's about your age, a couple of years younger than you are. But I am every time I'm blown away by you guys. You are so aligned in your purpose and and knowing who you are and what you want to contribute to the world, which is something I'm not sure I had when I was 25. So good on you. Go, Shri. We're all the way behind you. And so now, as we were preparing for your episode today, when we asked you what is your number one tip for our audience, you said, don't be too hard on yourself while building and growing. Comparison is the killer. That line, it's gold, Shri. So tell us, dig into that a little bit more, because honestly, in a world where everything moves so fast and
Yeah,
where right now social media makes everyone else's success look effortless, that
yeah,
kind of self-compassion, it's not just nice, it's essential if you want to stay creative, as far as I'm concerned. So how did
absolutely.
you come to understand this for yourself, Shri?
Building a startup is quite a stressful situation because you're pulled in so many directions and things like that. So and there's a lot of pressure on, right, we got to make this successful and all this sort of stuff. So for me, when I'm stressed, I don't work that well, and I'm just like running around like a tailless chicken, and when you swipe between screens, you're not really doing anything. Like that ended up being me, rather than like with pressure, that's different. Like I feel like I can really operate under pressure, and that's fine. That's when I get things really done. But stress, no, that just sort of shuts me down. So I was trying to find ways of becoming less stressed, but instead of just looking for solutions, I was like, okay, what is causing the stress? Maybe we can address it at sort of the roots rather than just trying to stick a plaster over it. So a lot of and I think this podcast is really relevant because I did a lot of sort of research and reading around sort of techniques and of like what I could deal with to address the why I was getting stressed. And I think part of it was seeing things on social media and about other startups and going, oh yeah, I just raised 2 million. Like, oh, I just did this, I just did this. And it's like, and I do the same on LinkedIn. Like, oh, we just received this milestone, this milestone. And then you realize you're like, wait, but in order for me to get to that milestone, I did this, this, and this, and this. They would have had to have done the exact same thing. But I was just looking at it like, everyone does and going, oh, that looks easy. Like, how did you do that? Like, why am I not there? How have I not got that proof point? Da, 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 da. I sort of try to adopt it as much as possible, that thought of you're on your own path, no two paths are the same with business or personal life. You can't just compare the chicken and eggs. Like, well, no, that's the wrong phrase. Apples and pears, there we go. Like, you can't really compare. It's the same with in personal life. You scroll on social media, you see everyone having a great time, and you're on your sofa, chilling on a Friday night. You also think, oh, such a loser. What am I doing here? I should be out with my friends. But you're forgetting about the Saturday, Sunday plans that you have. So you're going to be busy all weekend anyway. So it's also relative, and so I just have to keep always reminding myself of that in personal and business. And that's why I think, yeah, comparison is the killer, because you can get so all consumed on it. And it is rough building a startup. So if you have a bad day, you need to allow yourself to have a bad day, or you need to allow yourself to be tired, allow yourself to reset, allow yourself a moment to digest bad news. You can't just move on to the next. And that's all been like learning. That's not been something like day one that I was like, I'll implement these things.
Well, Sheree, let's say that I think I can speak on behalf of Marisha too. It didn't take you that long. Like, we are double your age, and it's taken me forever to get to that wisdom and to that maturity of actually self-analyzing and seeing and correcting my own path and bringing it back to that self-development and standing in your own power and not having that comparison, but owning your own choices, your own space, and feeling comfortable with it, and to quiet that inner critic. Congratulations, Ree.
Never goes away.
On the edge, but when we learn how to master it and we take ownership and we are the captains of our direction of our ship, that's really impressive, and that also frees us to see things differently, and that's where innovation comes in. It's when we're in that state of, okay, then I can perform better. Brilliant. Love it, Shri. Well, at this point of our episode, what we normally do is with our guests, we have a little rapid fire questions, just to get to know you a bit better and just out of a bit more fun and lift the tempo. So answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. One word or one sentence max. Are you ready?
Okay.
This is something
Yeah.
quick. So the word that best describes innovation.
I was gonna say ideation.
Brilliant. Yay.
That's a great one. All right. Your entrepreneur superpower.
Communication.
Brilliant. One habit or ritual that keeps you grounded.
Sports.
Brilliant. Love it. So our Elevate tagline is feel well, think deep, and live wide. So what does living wide mean to you?
Not forgetting that there's a life outside of your work, because it's very easy to be consumed by it all, especially, I mean, with any job, but if in a startup as well, sometimes I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is like write the things that like sit in my sleep, like write them down. So just remembering that there is a life outside of work and there's a life outside of the job that you do, and to really seize that as well. I don't want to have like worked my whole entire life and only can enjoy it when I've retired as well. I think that's like quite a strong motivator. So yeah, not forgetting that work is one thing. You need to enjoy it and like it and use it and grow from it, because you spend a lot of time doing it. But that doesn't mean you can't live your life outside of that as well.
It's all
Yes.
about balance. Yes. So that was fun. See, innovation has a rhythm and yours has a serious groove, Shri. Your story reminds us that innovation isn't just a sprint, it's a journey. And that journey actually does have a rhythm, a tempo. And sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's fiery, sometimes it's bumpy, but it's always alive and it's about moving things forward. And your whole story shows that to us. Thank you for showing us that patience and perseverance is power, and that STEM, innovation, design can be as human as the people it serves.
Absolutely. And you know what really stays with us is just how grounded your vision is, Shri. It's not just about innovation for applause, but it's for innovation for purpose. And you do it with soulfully, and that is remarkable. And maybe that's the real warmth behind what you actually do. Designing not only for comfort and for improving things, but to remind us that true innovation connects people, needs, and purpose. Beautiful.
You can follow Shri and her work at matzero.com or on Instagram at MatzeroLTD, right, Shri? And you can connect with her on LinkedIn at Shri Hollema. Well, you'll find all of these in the attached description under this video. And if this conversation sparked something in you, hit subscribe to Elevate with Liana and Marisha on YouTube or Spotify. Share this episode and with someone who's building their own big idea. We want your comments. We welcome them. Thank you so much, Shri, for being here with us today. It's been such a joy to have you on.
Oh, thank you. I've loved it. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Shri. What a pleasure. And just a reminder to all our subscribers, we are here to feel well, think deep, and live wide.
You've forgotten.
That's right.
Like a dog when the buzzer goes off, I'm like...
Bye.
Bye.